every single week I seem to be talking about the Dallas Cowboys just around the amount of headlines and stories they make. And this segment should just be called Dallas Discomfort. For the last 25 years, all they've been is discomfort. So on today's edition of Dallas Discomfort, Dallas last week lost to the 49ers in the playoffs at home, as a lot of you guys know. And they were scrutinized for a lot of the plays, especially the QB draw that they called at the end of the game. Now, if we go back earlier in the game, for one, the QB draw would have never been a problem if they still had a timeout left and they would have clock managed better. But Mike McCarthy, of course, as always, dating back all the way to 2013, 2014, until Rodgers in the Super Bowl couldn't disguise him any longer, has been messing up clock. He's always been messing up the clock, taking timeouts when he doesn't need to take timeouts, and doesn't trust his quarterback. You are paying Dak Prescott $40 million a year. Rodgers, Brady, Mahomes, Manning, Elway, Montana wouldn't have even considered a QB draw there. If Mike McCarthy calls a QB draw into the headset for any of those quarterbacks, I promise you they're audibling out of it, but they're not even if there's a button to turn off the headset, they're turning it off. They are paying you to make big boy throws in crisis situations. That's what $40 million means. Big boy throws in crisis situations. McCarthy is doing just enough to stay around. He's always done this, and I promise you, I dealt with it for 10 years. He does enough, just enough to stay around. Now, on Sunday, Dak looked closer to Jimmy G than he did to Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow. Other guys that are around his age. Joe Burrow's going to get paid what he's getting paid. Patrick Mahomes is getting paid what Dak's getting paid. Because Dak doesn't have a coach that will unlock something for him and for that offense. Dak isn't talented enough to overcome a bad head coach like Aaron Rodgers was. Aaron Rodgers put up some great seasons, but now at 37, 38, he's nearing towards the back end of his career. He's having the best seasons ever. He's about to win back-to-back MVPs. If he wins this weekend, he could go to 3 straight NFC championship games. And it amazes me. Without Mike, now at 38, Rodgers is better than he ever was. And Dak isn't as talented as Rodgers. He's not going to be able to overcome that for 10 years. McCarthy should get fired this offseason. It was never looked this easy with McCarthy, with Aaron Rodgers, like Rodgers and McCarthy. It never looked this easy, but it looks great now. But it never looked easy. Have you ever thought that Mike McCarthy outdueled Matt LaFleur, outdueled Kyle Shanahan, outdueled Sean McVay? Dak sometimes does, but Mike has never outdueled one of those coaches. And it always seems to become a problem. Stephen Jones, high guy in the Cowboys organization, executive, has come out and said he is very confident that McCarthy will be the coach next year, which I am surprised by, except for the fact that it's coming out of Dallas. In my opinion, I think Dan Quinn is the best guy for this job. Dan Quinn is out of there this offset. He's going to get a head coaching job somewhere. He's been to a Super Bowl. He has a good record. And if it wasn't for him being in Atlanta, if he would have been somewhere else making that kind of say, he'd probably still be around. But Atlanta's just another poor run franchise at points. Dan Quinn has had 4 head coaching interviews this week. He's going to get a job somewhere. And sometimes in a business, you gotta make a move a year early. That's how you get ahead of the curve. McCarthy, if he doesn't get fired this season, he's going to get fired next season. And you're not going to have Dan Quinn to take his space. Dan Quinn in one offseason completely changed the whole defense. And by week 3, they were already hitting. It didn't take like week 8 for them to get going. By week 3, they were already firing. Dan Quinn should take over this team. He could do wonders for the offense, get a good offensive coordinator in there, and things would change a lot. He's changed the defense in a year, almost won a Super Bowl with Atlanta, has a good record, and McCarthy is going to keep driving them down the drain next year and wasting Dak's career, which he needs to be built up. Like I said, Dak needs a coach that is going to build him up, that is an offensive mastermind like a LaFleur, Shanahan, or McVay. I want to talk a bit about the Washington football team, and I'm doing this because my dad sent me a little something earlier this week, and I've seen it circulating around a lot since then. This year in the NFC playoffs, there is Bruce Arians, Matt LaFleur, Kyle Shanahan, and Sean McVay left. Now back, I believe it was 2013, Matt LaFleur, Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay all worked for the Washington football team. They all worked there at the same time. And now all this, I'm bringing this up because of all the problems they've experienced this season. With their stadium, we've seen the water leaks, seen the scissors on the field, we've seen fans falling on Jalen Hurts and it being a serious problem. See all the stuff going on in their front office with the Dan Snyder investigation, all these emails. It's not pretty. And their name, all sorts of controversy. They're not even really selling. They haven't been selling out their stadium. Earlier this year when they were almost in playoff contention, that was most packed I've seen their stadium in a long time. Before Ron Rivera, they had three coaches dating back to 2008. And I'm not going to go back to before 2008. 2008, 2009, Jim Zorn. He went 12-20. Mike Shanahan from 2010 to 2013, 24-40. And Jay Gruden 2014 to 2019, 35, 49, and 1. While you have Matt LaFleur, Kyle Shanahan, and Sean McVay in the building, you are hiring these other guys. And it hurts me for the football team. It hurts me for guys like the rest of my family who are all big football team fans. I'm the outlier. I'm the Packers fan. And the reason I'm going here, trashing on the front office's decisions, is because it's time to give Ron Rivera, Taylor Heineke, their defense, and Jack Del Rio, their new president they hired a couple years ago, Jason Wright, which people love, credit for what they've done. If the football team wants to come back, which they need to come back, I promise you guys, they're going through this name change, and it's going to create even more memes and more bad media and just people talking shit about the football team when they come out with this new name. I promise you guys, if they were winning the division and had 12 or 13 wins, no one would give a damn if they were named the Washington football team, the Washington poop team. No one would care what they were named if they were winning playoff games. To get back to the great times like they had with Joe Gibbs, something needs to happen throughout the front office, and they need a new stadium. They're losing their fan base. They're losing money. They're turning into a clown stock of the NFL. At the moment, with all the things that went on this season with Washington, their team actually played good football at times, in my opinion, and could really get good if they had a vet QB or developed Heineke, in my opinion, which he could get there. The football team, they are turning into a joke otherwise. And the stadium they are in right now is the red nose to complete the clown costume. It's terrible. They need to move to a new stadium. They need to get some new front office guys, new ownership in there, and they need a revamp. I know the NFL hardly has ever stepped in situations like this. Actually, I don't even know if they ever have. Something needs to change. Washington is a historic franchise. They had great years back in the 80s. They need to get back into contention. They've been out of it for too long.